Friendly UAV inbound. Hardpoint identified.
Enemy down.
Hardpoint is ours. Friendly care package incoming. Hardpoint lost. HCXD inbound.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Designedcoma here. Welcome back. And the gameplay you're watching is me playing some Black Ops 3. Got some hardpoint going on Micro, and I have to tell you, I really enjoy Micro. There's something about it. I just have a really good time playing this map. Hardpoint plays pretty well on it. That center hardpoint, it can get a little crazy in that center hardpoint. And the one over by the, I think they're cans or kegs. No, I think they're kegs. Over by the kegs, that one can get a little crazy times too. It's pretty tight quarters there, but for the most part, it's really a fun map. I really enjoy it. The only part of the map I do not like is the blue tube. There's like a blue tube over there by the center hardpoint. That color blue that they used, it's like that like really fluorescent type blue. It just really messes with my eyes, so I steer clear of that blue tube. I just don't go, I pay attention to it, but I don't go into it because it just, I feel like I get all turned around in there. I don't know where I'm going. So what do we got for today's video? Well, I'm recording this video on 9/11, and it really got me thinking about what I was doing on 9/11 when all of this went down. First of all, I have to say, you know, to this day, my heart still goes out to those families of everybody who perished in that tragedy, and not just the towers, the additional planes that crashed. You know, the one in the Pentagon and the one out there in the field. Flight 93, and I have to say that it's just one of those days that you never really forget. And to this day, even though it's been 15 years, to this day, I still remember almost every single minute of the day that everything played out on that day. I almost remember pretty much everything. So I really kind of just wanted to talk about some of the things, you know, what I was actually doing on this day. And I'd like to hear what some of you guys were doing on this day as well, because I know we all have different stories, what we were doing. I'm sure a lot of us were glued to the television and things like that, watching the news reports coming out and everything. But what I was doing is, let's see, the 2001. So my son was 2 years old. He had just been born in '99, so he was 2 years old at the time. And my wife wasn't working at the time. She was a stay-at-home mom. I worked for one of the big three auto companies. I'm not going to say which one, but I worked for one of the big threes. And yeah, I was just sitting there doing my job, probably pretty much like everybody else was that day. Just doing our job, working. The next thing I know, somebody came down from, I think, one of the break rooms. Came down from one of the break rooms that we have. Basically said, hey, an airplane just crashed into one of the Twin Towers. I'm like, what? You gotta be crazy. And now my job, the job I was doing, I was able to walk away from it and go check this out. So I go and I look and I'm like, holy cow, I couldn't believe it. So I'm sitting here watching this on television, and from that moment it made me think about a time I was in high school when the Challenger exploded. One of the space shuttles, the Space Shuttle Challenger. I was actually in high school in my astronomy class watching it on television when the Challenger went up, when it just blew apart coming through the atmosphere. So it made me think back to that moment in time when I was in high school. So here I am at work, and I'm watching this on television, and of course I'm thinking of that, and then the next thing that pops into my head is my kids, my family, my parents, everybody, friends, those people, everybody I care about. So what ended up happening is eventually when the second plane hit, and I watched it on television, I literally watched the second plane hit on television, which I'm sure a lot of us did if we were in front of the TV when everything was going down. And when I saw that second plane hit, I knew right away there was no way this was an accident. There's just no way. It's not an accident. Things were kind of getting a little crazy at the plant, and eventually we got sent home. Now this was the eeriest thing that I ever experienced in my life. Nothing like movie. It felt like a movie scene, to be honest with you. So they send us home because they're concerned about any other planes, that, you know, whatever other targets there might be, things like that. I'm on my way home, and as I'm driving, not a single plane is in the sky. It was the eeriest feeling I ever had in my entire life. Looking up, not seeing a single plane flying by, not hearing a single plane flying overhead, because we lived pretty close to the airport, to an airport. We lived pretty close to an airport here in Michigan. Yeah, it was the craziest thing. It was the craziest feeling. I get home and my wife is home. Of course, my wife is home. And I get there and we're just like, oh my gosh, you know, I can't believe what's going on. This is crazy. This is insane. So we're watching it on TV just like everybody else is. And my son, you know, we're holding my son, and I'm thinking about all the families of the people that, you know, were on those planes and the people in those buildings. And then when I saw that tower collapse, that was just, it was pretty shocking, because you don't expect that to happen with the type of buildings we build these days. At the same time, you just really never know. It's just one of those things that you just really cannot think about. The minute the first tower went down, I looked at my wife and I'm like, I'm almost betting that second tower is going. And sure enough, the second tower goes down, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. To experience something like that, to where you're feeling like you're just under attack, you don't know if it's even safe to go outside. It was so crazy, and it was one of those days where I will just never forget. I'll never forget the things I did that day. And it was just trying to get home, a little frantic, realizing that there's just nothing up in the sky except for the sky. When you're so used to seeing those planes flying over all the time, hearing the airplanes and everything, it was just utter silence. It was really the eeriest feeling. So yeah, that's what I was doing that day on 9/11. And there were some other, of course there were all kinds of other feelings that were going through, like anger and resentment, because I knew in my mind that this was something that was going to require military action afterwards. And here I am, I'm out of the military, I was medically discharged, and I'm feeling like I need to be there. I need to be in there. I need to get back with the people that I fought alongside with to help defend my country. And it was a difficult thing. I had so many emotions going through my head, thinking about getting back into that, but then I'm thinking about my son and not wanting to have him grow up without a father and things like that. So it was just a crazy time. I'll never forget it. It's one of those days that I'll never forget, and I know a lot of us will never forget, especially the families that lost loved ones and husbands and brothers and sisters and kids, parents. It was just one of those days. I could never, oh my gosh, I could never imagine the feeling of getting the phone call from a loved one on one of those planes and having them say that it doesn't look like we're gonna get out of this alive. It would really, I'm not sure what my reaction would be. I honestly don't know. I can't even pinpoint it. There's no way I can express it. And I don't think any of us can. So I really hope that everybody took some time on 9/11 to reflect, give a little prayer towards the families that lost loved ones during that time, because it was honestly the craziest time to see your country under attack. I mean, it wasn't like a military type under attack, but we were under attack nonetheless. I know this might have been a little bit of a downer video, but I kind of wanted to share some of the things that I was going through on that day, and I'd really be interested to hear what some of you guys were experiencing on that same day. And I hope our kids today that were just very young at the time are learning about this and they're understanding the things that were going on. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like, favorite, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.
Hardpoint locked down. All mission objectives met. Prep for evac.
Crushed it.
Like sticks and stones against tanks.